right. All of us know it. We can remember it well. You had a summer job when you were younger. Maybe it was a lifeguard in Ocean City or Rehoboth Beach, or working as a caddy at Rocky Point. You served treats at Rita's. Whatever it can be, we all kind of cherish those summer jobs that we had. Nicole Windsor is a partner with Bowie and Jensen, and she's here with some advice on Summer Jobs 101, because it's not all fun in the sun. There are things that you need to think about a little bit.
A few details, and then lots of fun.
Now, what was your summer job?
I was a lifeguard.
Which is so fun.
Oh, it was wonderful. Get to be outside and enjoying the sun all summer. So.
But there's training that comes with that, requirements by law. You have to be trained in CPR. The same goes really for any job if you're talking about a teenager.
That's right.
What are the requirements?
In Maryland, as an initial matter, you can only work if you're between the ages of 14 and 17. There are certain exceptions that we can talk about, but for the most part, you know, to work in a retail establishment, that kind of thing, you've got to be at least at that 14-year-old mark. Employers should remember that as well. And you also need to get a work permit. And the way that it works is that you actually have to get the job first, and then you can go online to the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation. They've got an online application for work permits, and there's a part of it that you fill out as the employee, your employer fills out, and then you need to get your parents to sign off.
How serious is it if you don't do that, or if an employer doesn't do that, if that's sort of ignored?
Employers can get in trouble. There really are some serious fines that can be levied against you. And there have been times where folks have tried to use a defense that, you know, the person really looked older. I thought they were in their 20s. But that doesn't get you off the hook. You are required to make sure that if they're in that age group, that they've got the work permit.
You have to have the documentation.
Yeah, you absolutely have to have it.
On really both sides. What about hour requirements? You know, can a 14-year-old pull a 60-hour work week?
Fortunately, no. If you're between the ages of 14 and 15, the most you can be asked to work while school's in session is 4 hours a day. When school's not in session, you can work up to 8 hours a day, but you can't be asked to work before 7 a.m. Or after 8 p.m. until that period between Memorial and Labor Day, in which case you can work as late as 9 p.m. 16 and 17-year-olds aren't subject to that limitation, but all 14 to 17-year-olds cannot be asked to work more than 5 continuous hours without a half-an-hour break. So I think that's the one that employers sometimes forget, that they've got to make sure that they're giving minors that half-an-hour break. What
about jobs that we don't think about typically when it comes to documentation, babysitting or mowing lawns, where there's really nobody checking to make sure? I think I babysat at the age of 12.
I think I did too.
Right.
There are thankfully, there are some common sense exceptions to the law. Things that you would think of. For example, domestic work that's being done in a home environment, so that would be that babysitting. Another nice exception is that if you're working for a family, your family's own business, so if you're at work with your mom or dad and they own a restaurant, you're not subject to these requirements. Also, you can deliver papers. You can have a paper route if you're younger than 14 years old. And then there are some farming jobs that if you are working in a farm atmosphere, I don't know how applicable that is to some of the Baltimore area, but that also is accepted from those requirements.
Okay, and a good thing to think about, because there are rural areas around here.
That's true, there are.
Okay, well, good. And maybe it's one of those things where, you know, especially from an employer's end, contact an attorney.
Absolutely, just to make sure that they don't inadvertently get into trouble.
All right. Well, Nicole's with Bowie and Jensen. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
All right, good to see you.